We moved up here, Pete was transferred up here in the police department, and I retired. So I found myself up here with no family and no job and not very much to do. And after I unpacked the house, I went, I'm pretty bored. And one day I was in the car and I heard one of the workers from Berry talking on the radio saying they were looking for carers and to go down to the library at Barmer, and I was on my way home, so I went to the library at Barmer. As simple as that. Had a chat to him, and that's where it started, yeah. And then I thought I'd better go home and discuss it with my husband, which I did.
And we talked about it, and you know, the advantages, the disadvantages, and in short, just went in with an open mind, going, we'll keep going forward and moving through the process as long as we're happy. And if at any stage we go, hang on a minute, we've actually worked out this isn't going to be for us, we would pull out. And we didn't get to that stage. We got to the end of it and went, yeah, we can do this. And yeah, went through the whole process, became carers. As a person, I think I've had a pretty good life, a pretty lucky life, and I like the idea, a phrase I use regularly is the idea of giving back, and I'm involved in a few community things, you know, Rotary and other things, and I like the idea of, I've been lucky, I've had a good life, hey, can I give back? Yes, I can, so I give back what I can, what I think is reasonable. You know, I say occasionally, every now and again, I joke about it, hey, I'm a nice guy, I'm not a saint. I'll give back a bit, but there's limits, if that makes sense. So I just think that I like the idea of giving back, and I said to Deb, if not us, who? So we're in a good position in life in general, and if not us, who? So yeah, we did it.
And I went back to work, and we did some, and yeah, and then Pete retired early this year, and I went, I think I might retire again. So now we're both here full time and we can do what we want. So probably what's helped foster care at the moment is that we can't travel very far, we can't go too far. So it's like, well, we're here and we're available. So when someone needs to be, you know, housed for a couple of weeks, they give us a call. And it's working.
And there's plenty of times when we say yes, and there's a fair few times when we say it's not actually going to work. And the answer is, okay, that's fine, and we'll look elsewhere.
But there's even flexibility on the other side. Like we were asked if we could have someone for a week, and I said, yeah, that should work, except I've got a commitment on this night. And they went, we can get a babysitter to come around for the night. So we made it work with them. So it would have messed up 4 or 5 days of care just for one commitment that I actually wanted to keep. So somebody else came into the house for the night and stayed with the child, and we all got what we needed.
Yeah.
So there's flexibility on the other side and flexibility on our side, so it works really well.
We've been told that, you know, we've had a number of challenging children, but I think when they come into your home and you approach them with an open mind, with a friendly smile, with you're just trying to be as pleasant, reasonable, fair, sometimes fair and firm, 2 words I think go together, and you just get the blend right. It's amazing the barriers you can break down and how you can get to know some of the kids and they get to know you, because I don't think we've talked about it and we've been told, oh, you've had some of the more challenging kids, and we look at each other going, we have? We hadn't noticed. So,
So I think if there's not a lot of pressure on them, you don't get that pushback from the other side. And I think a lot of them are used to a lot of pressure, so when they don't get it, they actually do tend to relax pretty quickly. But I think the reason we've probably had more is because we only do, generally we do respite and emergency. So they're kids coming in and out, you know, quick intervals. Whereas a lot of the other carers, they might do short and long term. So their commitment's very, very different. And which is another good thing within the department, you can pick and choose whatever works for your family. So that's probably why we've had a lot of kids come in and out. So it's been interesting, and we've been learning as we go, obviously, because you don't know how you're going to react and how tired you might get, or, you know. But we had 3 children a few months ago from one family for 4 or 5 days, and I remember Pete going, this is really tiring, because he'd just recently retired, and while he was at work, I was doing most of the work, and he'd come home at night and I go, no, it's always been pretty tiring, you just weren't here when it was happening, no. So we're sharing the load a lot more now, but it's working really, really well, yeah.
But even that, one of the rewarding things that happened with that was there was a 14-month-old and 2 older siblings, and they were here. And when they left, just before they left, you know, there was workers here to collect them and take them to where they were going, and the 14-month-old came to me and put his arms up and wanted me to pick him up, and it was clear that we'd, even in that short period of time, you know, a number of days, developed a relationship, and that, yeah, he liked me, I liked him, and it was all working. So
he
just
felt
nice.
Safe. He felt safe, yeah.
Yeah, just seeing a smile on his face and the arms going up was good.
If I can make them feel safe and loved and show them a different side to perhaps what they see every day of their life, and maybe that's a spark of hope that I can show them. And if they can take that with them and think, it can be better, then that's a good thing, yeah. So if we venture into longer, this little baby that we've got at the moment is a little bit longer, so we'll see how we go with that. And it might evolve into something else, I don't know.
I remember we did have a 12-year-old boy at one stage who I particularly liked, and when I heard his story and what challenges were in front of him, I started talking to Deb about, you know, maybe we should look at longer term and look at this one and whatever. And I think that I found that challenging and hard. That was probably the hardest thing for me, because I really liked that young boy and what they were telling me of his options. I didn't like the sound of his options. So I'm like, maybe we're the best option and maybe we should. And then we started thinking, well, hang on, we've just retired. That's up to maybe 6 years of commitment. And like I said, I'm a nice guy, and I had to draw the line, and...
Not quite there.
I just couldn't make that decision. So we'll stick with the respite and the emergency and a couple of months and things like that, but I couldn't sign up for 6 years. That's just a decision that I made, and yeah. That was the only hard one I've found out of, you know, 20 or 25 or whatever it is.
And that might change. We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think more people should give it a go, because it's just so much fun. You know, you have your days where you know, you think, that was so hard. That last 2 hours of, you know, talking about what has happened at home and what they are used to and what you'd like to, you know, see them experience. That's hard, and we'll sit down and we sort of have a chat about it at the end of the day, and it's like, well, you can just show them that there is something different out there, and hopefully if they're old enough they can cling on to that and go, you know, I can make a difference, and yeah, they can have a positive outlook on life. So we're doing our little bit at the moment, and hopefully we'll expand to more things.
With the respite, we have some children that come back on a regular basis, and one of the boys that's been here, I play a lot of 8-ball, and he's keen on 8-ball and wants me to teach him. And so children that have come here, some really like our little dog and play with the dog. Some also like, some of the young boys like, oh, you know, I'll play 8-ball against Peter or whatever it might be. And this young boy, he's come here, and the word I'll use is a bit challenging, not a lot, but a bit. And I've felt like each time he comes, he's just, I don't know, we're breaking down barriers, and we're making a better relationship and helping him in a way where I can see change in him as a person, and I think that's good. I like that. The
decisions they make will make a difference to where they end up. And with that particular child you're talking about, he's now making decisions that are going to change where he ends up. So if we can put a little bit of input in there and turn him down the right path, well, that's a good thing, yeah. And I know if you saw him down the street and he came rushing up and gave Peter a big hug, which I was like, oh.
I didn't get a hug. No. Peter got a hug.
No. Like, you just don't know how you're going to be with each child or experience. So, I mean, at our age, you like to think that we've got a fair bit of life experience, but that doesn't mean you're not going to come across something that you're not familiar with. So, yeah, it's good that there's someone on the other end of the phone that you can call. Yeah.
I think that the thing I like is it's complete support. So for example, it starts with a phone call. Are you available? Yes. Here's some basic details. Are you happy with that? Yes. And then we'll send you some more detailed information about the child. So you've got the information you need to know. Could be about how they sleep at night, whether they want a light on, or all sorts of things. And you get that information beforehand, and then the child comes, so you're well prepared when they arrive. So then you do what you do, and the next thing you know, the next day comes and the phone's already ringing. How was it last night? You know, do you need anything? Is everything okay? How did it go? And it's just ongoing. It's continuous from the first phone call through to virtually, okay, they've left, now let's have a little mini debrief, I'll call it. And it's just a chat on the phone, but it's just from start to finish, really.
Yeah. So that I guess if you come across something you haven't before, then you can, yeah, make sure that you've done the right thing, or, you know, perhaps there are other options that you could have, you know, found along the way. But so far it seems to be working.
I'm a great believer that, you know, as I said, we do it because I like the idea of giving back, and if not us, who? And I think that there would be a number of people out there who would be good, decent people, who would have the capacity and ability to do it. They just are probably a bit scared, and I think they should. And we dipped our toe in the shallow end. We went, okay, we'll just do emergency and respite, which means, you know, this is the longest thing we're doing right now, 2 months. Most things are overnight to 2 weeks. You know, average would be 3 or 4 or 5 days. Yeah. So we've dipped our toe in the shallow end. Maybe sometime we'll do more, but I think there'll be a lot of people out there who could take it on and give it a go, really. I know it's not something that you just do flippantly. I'm not saying that, because the process to become qualified, you know, I spoke to all our 3 children. It's quite comprehensive. There was a lot of home visits and a lot of process. They were very, very thorough, which impressed me. But once we were in the system, it is, yep, we could stay in for 3 months and go, it's not what we thought. It's just, we can't do it. It's too hard, versus this is fantastic and we'll do it for 10 or 20 years, who knows?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You don't know what's going to happen with your own health or your own situation, but there are a lot of people around our age now that are retiring, and they go, you're doing what?
Basically the message would be, if in doubt, have a really good look. You never know. It might be something that you are going to get a lot out of, enjoy and get reward from and feel good about.
Yeah, and you can still have your own life and go do the things that you want to do. It doesn't impose on you that much, so yeah, don't be too scared of it. And there's a lot of kids out there that need just a little bit of help, so yeah, the need is very great. Share the load
would be a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Instead of a few people doing a lot, be a lot of people doing a little bit.